Hello friends, today we have the help of Oscar, the sportsman, and now we're going to do a test of strength. This is 25mm epoxy pipe, and it's very strong, you know, maybe 75 kilos with the clothes on and with many tools here, maybe even 80 kilos with the shoes, but it's strong, doesn't break. So I made the calculations. Well, if I increase the diameter from 25 to 30, I think the bending strength will increase by the cube. And that means it's 1.7 times as strong. So that means I could be like 120 kilos. And it's wrong bend anyway. So this is a change, and we thank Oscar for his filming.
Ja, vänta ett tag. Nu är ungefär, that's about like breaking sea. Now it's pouring in again. Snabbt, helt alltihopa. Snabbt, häller ur alltihopa. It works. It's just me been thinking you stupid. All this cutting this strong beam, look how strong the beam was. And I just cut by mistake. So I just have to blame myself. I'm not really always that smart. So, but luckily everything went okay. Now comes a big test. How is pouring? This sure was a test. So it works. There was no leak. Nu börjar vi här.
Mer?
Mer, ja. Mer. Mer. Oh, stopp.
Hittar du? Hittar du?
Va?
Hittade du?
Ja, jag ser precis var det kommer.
Ska jag hälla mer? Nej.
Va?
Ska jag inte hälla mer nu?
Vad sa du?
Jag behöver inte hälla mer nu.
Nej. Det kan hända att jag tänker fel, vet du. Ja.
Det var ju som att...
Hello again friends. So now I explain this. This is just a very good example about me being stupid. Because, well, if I fill up this system, water comes down here and comes, well, let's see. First it goes down here, and then it comes up here, and then it goes down on the other side. Of course, when it goes up to here, it must overflow. There's no place for the water, so it has to come out. Because the plug in the bottom, I plugged the draining. So, well, anyway, that's a good thing. Just stupid, I cut this nice beam. You see how thick it is? It was really the place for the mast before. Now I have to fix it, fix all these things. So, well, at least now I know how it works. That's a good thing. So here's the back. And here's a tiny hole. Look at it.
It's just big for the pipe cleaner go through, squeezing it through. So it's maybe the most small mix of epoxy I ever done. Very, very, very little. But it's needed. So tomorrow we'll put in the plug and then we test it with water. Then we're going to see how it is. So this is a good thing. So I sailed from Norway, north of Scotland, and up to Iceland in very strong and heavy weather. And finally, after 45 days, I arrived at Madeira. So Madeira was still as nice as I remember. I had a good time. Weeks went into months, having shallow draft like my previous boat. Breeze anchored close to the town pier. From that viewpoint, I had a close look at the lovely girls strolling along. My thoughts went to Jannike. She had written a few times asking to come along. I wrote her proposing we'll try it to the Canary Islands a few days in usually fine weather. At the post office, I met Gabby and Jörg, two young German backpackers who had been camping up in the mountains. Follow the lavadas, a network of beautiful irrigation channels. We compared experience and they came with me to the harbor to have a look at my boat. When they left, Gabi said, Jörg is leaving tomorrow, but I'm staying on for some time. I hope to see you again. I surely did not want to get mixed up with another man's girlfriend. Embarrassed, I said nothing. After they left, I thought it was strange that they did not leave together. Maybe they had been quarreling, I thought. But also, that seemed strange as they had been very nice to each other. A few days later, when I came back to my boat from the market, I found Gabi waiting for me at the step of the pier where I kept my inflatable dinghy. She was curious about my boat and way of travel. She said, so we went aboard. When I queried her about her boyfriend, she told me that it was her brother, but they were good friends and spent much time together. Before, I had mostly talked with him, but now I found out that she was much into mathematics. In fact, she was doing her PhD at Göttingen. It surprised me because very few girls are interested in mathematics. And she was blonde and beautiful and only 19 years old. But mathematics is a subject for young people. Newton did his greatest work at 22 and Einstein
at 25. We went along well with each other. We talked about the difference of Riemann and Lebesgue integrals, about conformal mapping and its importance for two-dimensional fluid flow, how Joukowski with a simple complex variable could transform a circle to look like an airfoil, and about many more beautiful things which I have now long since forgotten. We talked about various ways of traveling, and that all people who had money was too tired to travel, while she was young and eager to see the world, had money to backpack. She thought it was fantastic that I could travel all over the world in my little boat with just the help of the wind and my oar. She realized it was quiet, clean and healthy life. We spent the whole day together. In the evening, I walked her back to their hotel. Next morning, when I woke up, I saw that she was sitting at the step of the pier. Now she had her small backpack with her. I rode over to pick her up. Sven, she said, it is stupid that I spend the little money I have at the hotel. If you let me sleep in the boat, we could use it to buy some food from the market and take cheap local buses for day trips, and I could show you some beautiful places up the mountains. When your girlfriend comes, I go back to Germany to my research. I thought that as Jannike was a free, modern girl, did not think that jelly was, and did think that jealousy was a bourgeois invention, and had forced me to accept that she had a boyfriend beside me when we met in Holland, she would in her turn have to accept that Gabby moved aboard. So I told Gabby that she was welcome aboard. Time passed even more quickly now, with Gabby aboard, and one night when we had our evening meal, there was a knock on the hull, and when I opened the hatch, there was a fisherman there in his rowing boat. And on the back, there was Jannike, very happy to see me. She climbed aboard with her rucksack. When she came into the boat and did see Gabby, she was not so happy, of course. But the girls were polite to each other, and it was decided it was too late for Gabby to try to find a hotel. There was only one bunk aboard Breeze, and it was only 3.5 feet wide, a tight fit. We decided we could sort things out tomorrow. Next morning, Gabby said, okay, when I moved aboard, I promised to leave when Jannike came. But then I did not know what I know now. Now I have become attached to Sven and Breeze and this free life on a small boat. Now I'm dreaming of the big oceans and the far countries and all the exciting things Sven had been telling me about. I did not want to go back to the bourgeois society in Germany and continue my mathematical research. I want to come sailing with you. One man, 2 girlfriends on a small boat like Breeze was definitely too much. But sometimes fate arranges constellations beyond your control. When Gabby moved aboard for a few days, I did not know that it would change her dreams. Now I felt responsible for her. I felt responsible for Jannike too. True, she was a brave modern girl with no faith in traditional relationship. But I felt that this was a bit much even for her. On the other hand, once out on the ocean wave, maybe sicknesses would force her to leave the boat anyway. After much deliberation, we decided to give it a try. The girls went to the market and bought food. I dived into the water and cleaned the hull and started to make the boat ready for the sea after her long stay in port. When everything was stowed away, we went to the custom and cleared for the Canary Islands. Everything went well. To my surprise, Jannike seemed to have found her sea legs. With 2 crews, the boat could keep a better outlook, and I did not have to worry when crossing shipping lines. I had 2 hours watches alone, followed by 4 hours rest below with one of the girls, while the other one kept watch in the steering hatch. The sea arrangement worked fine. We reached port in fine form, with everyone happy. But their disaster struck. A letter was waiting for Gabi. Her conventional parents had let her out on a backpacking tour, watched over by her older brother. When he came back alone, telling them she would follow in a week's time, they had started to worry. After all, she was only 19 and at the time doing her PhD in mathematics, the pride of the family. When her letter arrived, telling them that she had given up her research and was on her way to Brazil in a boat built in a Swedish cellar, they were shocked. They threatened with Interpol and other things if she didn't come straight back home. It was a long letter and it did a deep impression on her. She cried and said she had to leave. Although she did not say so, I realized that Jannike was pleased not to have to share me with another girl. As the passage from Madeira had gone well, it was a matter of course that she was signed on for good. As the next stop was planned at Rio de Janeiro, a voyage much more difficult than the usual crossing from the Canary Islands to Barbados. It was much longer and also including passing the doldrums and getting into the trade wind system of the southern hemisphere. We stored the boat with as much food as we could afford, canned sardines now replacing Swiss meatballs as staple food. To be continued.